Well, hello, Ian Anderson Gray here for episode 152. I forgot that right. It is 152 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. I can't believe we got to 152. In today's show, we're going to be talking about the power of masterminds, mastermind groups. Now, I'm not sure whether you've come across those. Maybe you're very familiar. Maybe you've never heard of them before, or maybe you're just wanting to find out a little bit more about this. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about in today's episode, which I can't wait to share with you because mastermind groups are so powerful. They've made a massive difference to me in my journey. And it's a way really to level up your business, level up what you're learning, and learn new things. So that's what we're going to be talking about in today's show. And we're getting back into normal after a bit of a quieter January. I'm going back to doing hopefully 2 episodes every week. I had a bit of a break over January and before Christmas as well, which I think I'm finding that this is like what I have to do. This is what happened last year inadvertently and kind of inadvertently again. So I just find that around this time of year, I just need a bit of a break. And so, yeah, that's what I've been doing. But I'm very excited about what's happening next. I'm going to be doing some really cool things, which I'll be sharing with you today. So if you've just joined watching live, let me know. Don't be shy. Put in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. If you've heard of mastermind groups, I'd love to know. And of course, if you're watching the replay, just put hashtag replay in the comments. It's time to get on with the show. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Hello, welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show. And in today's episode, we're talking about the power of mastermind groups. Do you want to level up your business as well as your impact, authority, and profits? Well, mastermind groups might well be the way you can do that. That's what we're going to be talking about in today's show.
Welcome to the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Helping you level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of confident live video.
Optimize your mindset and communication and increase your confidence in front of the camera.
Get confident with the tech and gear.
And get confident with the content and marketing.
Together, we can go live!
Well, hello, Ian Anderson Gray here for episode 152 of the Confident Live Marketing Show. I'm very excited today to be talking to you about mastermind groups. Mastermind groups have changed my life. They've changed so many people's lives in the business world, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. This is episode 152, which is kind of like weird. I can't believe we got to that already, but here we are. Today's episode is actually going to be fairly short for a couple of reasons. First of all, I've planned everything that I want to say about mastermind groups, and I think it's pretty succinct. And I think we don't need to spend any more time on that. But also, it's time to spend some time with my son. We're going to go to the cinema this evening, so I've got to get planned for that. But let's get on with the show. And I can see Katie Simpson is in the house. Great to see you, Katie. Hope you're doing really well. I hope we can see you this year in person, so I'm hoping we can do that. And you say interesting and helpful conversation. Thank you, Katie. Well, it's something that's close to my heart. Mastermind group. So let's first of all answer the question, what actually is a mastermind group? There used to be I don't know whether there still is. In the UK, there's a BBC question show called Mastermind. It's not a question show or anything like that. It's a peer-to-peer mentoring group, and it's used to help members solve their problems with input and advice and support from other group members. Now, I didn't know this. It's been around for a while. The concept apparently was coined back in 1925. So it's almost 100 years old by a guy called Napoleon Hill. I think that's a great name for somebody who's come up with this, Napoleon Hill. And he wrote a book called The Law of Success, in which he talked about this. And I think he learnt a lot from his conversations with some very important people, which I'll come on to in a minute. But he wrote more information in a later book called Think and Grow Rich in 1937. So the concept has been around for a long time. And you could argue probably for hundreds of years. I mean, Napoleon Hill came up with the concept, the name of it, but it's probably been around for longer than that. And apparently, according to the book, I was reading this, he learned this concept by studying other successful people, particularly Americans, including Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Alexander Graham Bell, Theodore Roosevelt, and more. Now, there are two types of, there are actually lots of different types of mastermind groups, but I wasn't aware of this first type of mastermind group. The first one is focused on just one person, an individual success. So, for example, you could be wanting to launch a business or launch something new, and you know that you need help. And so what you do is you form a mastermind group of other people who want to support you. It could be other business owners, other entrepreneurs, and they come together with you with the sole purpose really of helping you get the success that you need in whatever that you're trying to achieve. So that's the first type of mastermind. And I hadn't really come across that. I did listen to Cliff Ravenscraft's podcast relatively recently, and he was talking about how he started into the business world and left his very good job in the world of insurance and was going to set up a podcast consultancy. And he knew that he needed help. So he formed, I suppose it's this first type of mastermind, which is getting other people who are going to come around you and are focused on your success. The second type of mastermind is really what I've come to know what a mastermind is. And this is focused on the success of everyone in the group. So there could be 6 of you, 8 of you, 10 of you. You are focused on the success of everyone in the group. So you're getting something out of it, but you're also giving back to everyone in the group as well. So yeah, that's the two different types of mastermind groups as well. Thank you, Katie. And Reg, family first, remember what you're working for. Nice. Yeah. Thank you so much. I think it's going to be Spider-Man, which I have to say is not necessarily my cup of tea, but do you know what? I'm going to thoroughly enjoy it. We're going to go for a meal and it's going to be fun. Yeah. So there you go. So 2 types of masterminds that I've just said. Now, we could categorize masterminds into 2 other types, and that are free masterminds and paid masterminds. So you could join or form a mastermind group that's completely free, or you could form one or join one that is paid. Now, I've been in both types. I've been in free masterminds and I've been in paid ones when I paid out some money to join. And they both have their pros and cons, and I'll come on to that in a minute. Optimally, in terms of numbers, I think everyone's going to have different views on this. I came across an article that was saying optimal groups will be between 8 to 10 participants. I think generally speaking, that is on the larger side. I have been in groups that have been like 12 plus, and they've worked really well. Particularly in-person ones, which I'll talk about in a minute. But what's important here is that you meet regularly. The regularity is important, and it does have this rotating leadership. So usually there's no one in charge, although there are different types of masterminds. I'm going to come on to one in a bit where there is one person who is continually facilitating and leading those. Generally speaking, I would say like 6 to 8 people is a good number, but sometimes 8 to 10 can work for certain masterminds. And so there's pros and cons with all of this. Now, they can be either in person, which has been very difficult, obviously, with the pandemic. We're recording this going live in 2022. So we're hopefully coming out of that slowly. But they can be in person, online, or hybrid. So I've been in groups that have been on Zoom every week, totally online, and we've never actually met in person. I've also been in ones that are purely in person until the pandemic struck, and we then did meet online. And I've also been in ones that have been hybrids as well. So there are some that might meet online once every week or once every month, but maybe 4 times a year they meet in person. And if it's a worldwide group, that can be quite fun because you could like meet in a different country. It could be, well, let's go to America this week. Let's go to the UK. Let's go to the Bahamas. I don't know. It could be something like that. So there are loads of different ones there. And it really depends on what you're looking for and what you're wanting to do. So why have a mastermind? Do any of these things so far appeal? I haven't really got on to the main advantages with having a mastermind, but being an entrepreneur can be lonely. I'm an introvert, but I still get lonely. I need people. I need people to bounce ideas off because like it's just me. I mean, I've got my wife, Helen. We brainstormed. We had a meeting this morning, which is great, but I need other people out there. And you go onto social media, it's not really it's not a safe place really to share the struggles, the downs as well as the ups. You go onto Facebook and it feels like everyone is having loads of success. And you're looking at it and think, well, yeah, but things have gone really badly with me today. My course has not sold enough of copies, I want to sell more. So there's not really a safe place to share the struggles, except in a mastermind group. That is that safe place. You can tap into other people's knowledge and creativity. We might be very creative people, or we may not, but we certainly don't have all the answers. And I love this this saying. It's a very famous saying. If you are the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I thoroughly believe that, if you are not surrounding yourself with smart people, with creative people with different skills, you need to do something about that. And a mastermind group can be part of that. You can grow your network as well with connecting with people who know other people that you might not know and who might be able to help you as well. So really strong arguments for joining a mastermind group. And Katie says, yes, the accountability. I'm going to come on to this in a little bit, Katie. Yeah. The accountability and chatting to other like-minded successful people sounds really helpful. And yes, accountability is not necessarily the central part of mastermind groups, although in most of the ones that I've been part of, it kind of is one of the most important parts of a mastermind group. So yeah, absolutely. And being with other like-minded successful people is really helpful because, if you are an entrepreneur, a lot of your friends and even family members are not necessarily going to understand what goes into your business and what you're thinking about. And so you need other people who understand you. Really important. Okay, let's look at some advantages and disadvantages with going for a paid mastermind or a free mastermind. Now, the advantage with a paid one is that because you have paid more money, there's this kind of funny thing that goes on in that you're going to be more committed. If you don't pay, you got kind of like nothing to lose. Whereas if you paid and you don't bother to do anything, then you've lost all that money. So I think there's that commitment. And also, you're more likely going to be with other people in the mastermind who are equally committed. So I think that's important. And, the price, the more money you pay into this, the more likely you are to get people who are more serious. If you pay like $5 a month for your mastermind, you may get some very committed people in there, some great people in there, but you might get some time wasters. Whereas if you were to spend, I don't know, $1,000 a month or something, or more than that, you're more likely to get people who are really committed. It's an unfortunate thing in a way, but it is kind of true. Now, the price for these things can, obviously you can get free ones. You can pay $100 a year. You can pay anything up to, I have seen ones that have been like $100,000 per year. Which is a lot of money. A friend of mine who was actually in one of my free masterminds, joined a paid mastermind. Now, I can't remember exactly how much they spent on this. It was probably, I may have this wrong, but maybe let's call it $30,000. So it was a lot of money to spend on this. And they went to the first meetup and they had one conversation with one of the members and it changed everything for them. They changed something in their business and they were able to increase their turnover hugely. So they kind of got back, in the sense, that $30,000 investment after one session at the masterminds. So they can make a massive, massive difference, even though obviously spending that amount of money can be painful. Now, by the way, you don't have to spend that kind of money. You can join a free one. Free ones are great. I've been part of free ones and they are awesome. If you can find the right people, there might be people in your community who want to join together and help each other, and free ones are absolutely fine. And some of those downsides that I mentioned with free don't have to happen if you are with really like-minded people. And that's the important thing. So free is obviously good for cash poor entrepreneurs, or if you're just starting off, or if you're not so sure. But do be aware that it can attract stragglers and the wrong people. And also you might, in terms of like your commitment, you might be more committed if you were to put some more money down. Pros and cons there. And I'd love to know what you think about those things. So in terms of what's important when you join or form a mastermind, make sure that the people in the group are at similar kind of levels, or, you know, they're going to stretch you. Ideally for you, if you're being purely selfish, you want people who are higher than you in terms of their level. They're making more money than you. They're connected with people who've been doing this for a longer time than you. But they may not want to be with you because you know what I'm trying to say. So ideally, you know, be at similar levels. I think being strict with organization and timing is really important. In the past, this was not my strength. I'm too nice. That's my problem. But as I've been leading masterminds, I've seen that organization and timing is absolutely vital, and I'm really strict with that now. You know, there's time to be nice. I think it's really important to be nice, but starting on time and making sure that people only have a certain amount of time to talk is really important, because we're all busy. And to get the best out of it, I think we do need to be quite strict there. And making sure that everyone in the group should talk and feel comfortable in talking, because sometimes it's the extroverts and those with the loudest voices that get to express their opinions. So it's creating that safe space where everyone feels comfortable to talk and is creating that really safe space. Now, the roles within the group. This can vary depending on the type of group that you want to form or join. But I think there needs to be, every single week, there needs to be somebody who is the secretary. So this is somebody who's writing down what people are saying. What's the accountability point for this week for somebody? And you're writing that down or typing that, the secretary. The next person is the timekeeper. This could be the same person as the secretary, but this is somebody who's looking at the clock, or has got a stopwatch, and is making sure that people only have 3 minutes. And when the 3 minutes is up, they say, right, time's up, on to the next person. So we've got the timekeeper. The next person is the moderator. And the moderator could be the timekeeper. But this is somebody who is kind of in charge of moderating or facilitating the meeting. Then you've got the person in the hot seat. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, this can be multiple people. And then finally, you've got everyone else in the group. So those are the roles within the group. Rules. What should the rules be in the group? So I think listening is really important. It's so important to want, I think it's very tempting, isn't it, to butt into a conversation or want to shoot somebody down for giving some bad advice. Don't do that. It's important to listen really carefully to each other. And that's kind of hard for some people, but listening is a skill that we need to learn. So listening, accountability, I think, is key. So holding each other accountable, making sure that you are checking in with people throughout the week, making sure that they are going to achieve what they're going to achieve. I think being encouraging is important. So yes, there's the kind of the harsh side of a mastermind, making sure that people are being held to account, they're being accountable. But I think also encouraging, because let's face it, we all need encouragement, don't we? We all need encouragement. Next thing is vital, and that is being totally truthful and honest. These are safe places. The next point is confidentiality, and confidentiality is important. And because you are, nothing that you say within the group will be allowed to be shared outside of the group. You should be able to be truthful and honest, and we don't want any kind of like sugarcoating or anything like that. We just want the truth so that we in the group can help you. It's not just the opposite of sugarcoating is a problem as well. You could just be so melodramatic and catastrophizing everything. So we don't want that either, but being totally truthful and honest and being confidential and keeping it a safe place where people feel comfortable to share these things. You also want you want the success of each member in the group, unless it's that first type of mastermind where it's one person, but usually it's each person in the group. You want them to succeed, and it's not just what you're getting out of it, it's what you are giving back to the mastermind group. And finally, commitment is key. Now, I think it's absolutely fine to be honest and say, look, I'm going to be taking some time off this summer. I'm going to be going away for 2-3 weeks. I am going to it's time I need with my family. That's totally fine. But other than that, I think commitment is key. If there are anything else in the calendar, you need to make sure that you are committed to this mastermind group as well. Katie asks a really good question, and I will come on to it in a bit, but this is a question that a lot of people ask is, how do you find a good mastermind? I will come on to that in a bit because it's, it can be a struggle. So things that you could do within the mastermind group, you can get feedback on a new thing that you're working on. Maybe it's a new course or a lead magnet or something like that, and you want to get some feedback on that. In a way, because you trust your group members to tell you the truth and to be encouraging, this is going to be really helpful. You can ask questions. You can get support and encouragement. You could get them to beta test something new that you are building, and of course, get accountability. Now, when you first join a mastermind or you form a mastermind, it's important to set the tone. There are as many different kinds of masterminds as you like. But I think setting the tone at the start and making sure that everyone agrees is really important. Is accountability an important part of your mastermind group? How strict should it be, or how casual do you want it? What is the actual point of this? And that brings me on to what Katie was asking. How do you find a good mastermind group? Now, I've not got the perfect answer because there's not like one place that you go to find a mastermind. Because, as I said before, there are so many different types of masterminds out there. There are free ones, there are paid ones. So probably the best way or the easiest way to begin with is to find other people in your community and reach out to them, say, would you like to join a mastermind group? It needs to be people, I think, who you trust. They don't have to be doing this. They don't have to be in the same niche or sector as you, but they need to be at a similar level. So reach out to other people and form your own mastermind. 2 of my previous masterminds started that way. Or you could search around online for mastermind. There are Slack mastermind groups. There are accelerators out there that you can join that will help you. And I've got my own mastermind coming up in March. So I'll tell you a little bit more about this in a bit, but this is called the Confident Live Accelerator. If you go to iag.me/CLA, that's short for Confident Live Accelerator. That's iag.me/CLA. You will, if you register your interest there, I will let you know more about it once the details have been finalized. But that's going to be a limited time. It's probably going to be 6 to 8 weeks. And then people, if they want to carry on, they can. But we're going to just be focusing on one thing throughout those 6 to 8 weeks. So check that out. Okay, so let's think about the actual mastermind meeting itself. Now, it can be online on Zoom, for example. It could be like 1 hour. It could be 2 hours. I would probably not online do it much more than 2 hours. I think that's probably the max. In person, you can make it longer. I've done whole mastermind days. They've worked really well, particularly if you have longer, more people that you want to meet with as well. And of course, with the online thing, you could meet in person and make a whole day of it, or 2 days every now and again. So, but in a typical mastermind meeting, this has been my experience. And of course, you can mix this up and do whatever you like. The first thing that you need to do is you all need to turn up on time. And for me, somebody who has ADHD, I have to turn up early. So if I say to myself, well, I'm going to turn up 3 minutes early, that probably means I'm going to turn up on time. I have to overcompensate. I'm the kind of guy who will turn up at the airport like 3.5 hours before the flight. And then I'm waiting around because I just know that if I don't do that, I'll probably be late. And that's the worst thing ever. So that turn up on time. Next thing is, I suppose it's kind of like a roll call. Just make sure that everyone's there. And just, you can have a quick chat, but making sure that's maybe no more than 2 minutes. And then it's everyone going around and sharing what they've managed to achieve over the last week. So I would say give everyone 3 minutes, or maybe 2 minutes to 3 minutes each. Set a time on that, and you go around and everyone shares what they've achieved last week, how they're feeling, and keep it to 3 minutes. Now, the next part, this is the main section. You've got two choices here, there's lots of different choices, but you could do the traditional mastermind segment where somebody is in the hot seat that week. Or you could make it 2 people are in the hot seat. But the first person shares first. They share a struggle, something that they're struggling with, for 5 minutes. It could be longer, but I would say 5 minutes is good. Then each of the remaining members will give feedback to that person. Before they do that, I think asking clarifying questions. So could you tell me what you meant by that? How much are you thinking of selling that for? It could be, or how long is it going to be before you do this? Those kind of questions are great. But then it's a case of going around and the members giving feedback. And again, putting a time limit on it, 3 minutes each, that kind of thing would be really good. So, and then of course you've got this secretary who will be writing this stuff down, which is great. And also you can record these things. So that's option number 1. Another thing which I've not really done, well, we've kind of incorporated it before, but this is the challenge and wins section. So each person goes over the biggest challenge and wins over the past week. So this means that everyone's involved, and everyone shares some feedback on that one. And I like that. I think that's great. Of course, with all of these mastermind groups, I do recommend that you have some kind of online group. So you've got the weekly meeting, but you might have a group on, say, Slack. Slack is great for this, or it could be a Facebook group, or I don't know, WhatsApp group would not be my preference, but it could be something like that. And so you're making sure that you throughout the week, you've got any questions or wanting some accountability throughout the week, you've got that as well. So that's the main section. And then you've got the accountability section. So each member then will share one task that they want to be held accountable for the next week. So it could be, I've got this lead magnet that I've been procrastinating about, and I really need to finish it by next Tuesday. So that means you are committed to doing that. And then next time you meet up, you will say that you've done it. Now, some people take it even further, and they will say, if I don't do it, then I will have to donate $1,000 to charity or something like that. So there's sometimes there's a negative, something that people will have to do if they don't achieve it. Personally, that doesn't work with me. I'm not really I'm more of the carrot kind of person as opposed to the stick, but you got that option as well, depending on what you're wanting to do. And then, of course, with that accountability, I think other members can ask clarifying questions just to make sure, are you sure? Because I think one thing you should be focusing on for next week should be this, and you've just mentioned 5 things. That's too many things. And then final quick chit chat at the end. I would suggest that you don't really have any kind of major chit chat in your mastermind groups. What I would suggest that you do is occasionally have some socials. So it could be like every month you just meet up and you have a bit of a chat. You could call it like you could have a virtual bar or meet for a social thing. What we do in the actual physical meetups is we have a whole day. So we have masterminds in the morning, masterminds in the afternoon, and we have lunch where we can have a chit chat and have some fun. But yeah, that's how that all works. It's definitely very, very exciting. And thank you, Katie. Yes, the Confident Live Accelerator is something I'm very excited about because I had a course which went really, really well called Launch Your Live. I've renamed it. I talked about this last year. I was thinking of renaming it anyway, but for other reasons, because there is actually a podcast called Launch Your Live, I've changed the name of that. And that's going to be coming back fairly soon. I've tweaked it slightly, and that's going to be more a case of you going through all the steps on how you can launch your live show and podcast and learn everything about repurposing and all that kind of stuff. That's how you can do, that's what that course is going to be all about. DD Writers in the house watching on Facebook. Great to see you. Hope you're doing well. Lovely to see you. So that's going to be that. But my Confident Live Accelerator is going to be a 6 to 8 week group mastermind. Now, it's kind of a hybrid because it's going to be partly a course. There'll be some teaching as well. I have some videos that you will go through. But the point of this really is that what I found with the Launch Your Live course was that people got overwhelmed really easily. They realized there was so much that they needed to do. Even before they started planning for their podcast and their live show, there were things like, branding that I had to think about and what is this podcast going to be about? And, there's the tech. How does that all work? And with Launch Your Live, it was a 2-week course. In fact, it was really a 1-week course. And the second week was a practical thing where people could go live in the group. And so what I've done with this is I've stretched it out to 6 to 8 weeks. We're going to have a mastermind call every single week. And it's going to be really up to 10 people. It's a max of 10 people. So there's going to be a lot more kind of one-to-one, not so much one-to-one, but kind of smaller, more intimate groups. And so this is something that I love doing. And it's going to, at the end of it, you'll be able to launch your live show and podcast. But even if you have one, it's getting to the bottom of what you're actually doing, being able to repurpose, thinking about the process and the planning of your whole thing, and so that you can actually grow your business through your live show and podcast. So that is the Confident Live Accelerator. Check that out at iag.me/CLA. That's iag.me/CLA. Well, that's everything about mastermind groups. And I would love to know more about what you think about this, whether you're thinking of joining one, whether it's forming your own, whether it's joining mine that's coming up or finding another one out there. I'd love to know from you what you think about this. What excites you the most about a mastermind group? I'd love to know. But I think that is it from me for this week. It's time for me to get organized and go to the cinema with my son and have some fun with him. But remember, the podcast, of course, is coming out every Friday at iag.me/podcast. I can't remember which episode is coming out tomorrow. I should know that, shouldn't I? But it's not about Twitter, is it? It might be about Twitter. I think it might be. So there's that. And I've, of course, got loads of other cool things with the courses and my accelerator coming up as well. Reg, thank you so much for your comments. Reaching similar milestones. Awesome. It's all about, achieving the milestones that you have for yourself and helping others with that. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you, Didi, and for the rest of you watching. It's been great to be here. But until next time, I encourage you to level up your impact, authority, and profits through the power of Confident Live Video. See you soon. Bye.
Thanks for watching the Confident Live Marketing Show with Ian Anderson Gray.
Make sure you subscribe at iag.me/podcast so you can continue to level up your impact, authority and profits through the power of live video.
And until next time,
Toodaloo.